Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Alberto23, and today I'm going to be going over the second part in my two-part manual Superswim tutorial. In the previous tutorial, I taught you how to simply pause buffer to gain speed. But once we reach around 600 units of speed, we still need to gain more speed. That's not enough speed to reach Dragon Roost, but we actually don't have to pause buffer anymore. There's a trick called the Upcharge that allows us to gain the remaining 1,000 units of speed without even pause buffering. And that's called the Upcharge. And then after that, we're going to have to get an air refill, so we get a fresh air gauge, and then head to Dragon Roost. So, just a quick recap. Make sure your camera is panned all the way out, as I mentioned before, because this next part of the trick, the Upcharge, is... we're going to try to get it at as low of speed as possible, and if your camera is really zoomed in like this, you're going to need to pause buffer more unnecessary speed to get it to work. So, pin it all the way out. Now, how do I tell I have around negative 600 units of speed? Just to be flat honest, there's not really a very good visual cue. I will show you a visual cue that you can use, but it's not the best. So, one thing that you may notice, on only 2 frame pauses, you'll notice this. How much speed is that? That's not enough. When you reach around negative 600, what'll start happening is that on 2 frame pauses, so these are all frame perfect, so you don't see it. I have to actually deliberately get a 2 frame pause, and you'll kind of see this. So, you see how Link is, well actually this is way more speed than I need. Link, his like wave, which is that white part, I'll show you, this kind of like white round thing going around him is touching the bottom of the screen. It's actually off the bottom of the screen, and he's actually touching the bottom. He actually can be kind of right here and it'll still work. That is kind of a visual cue that you can use, but as I mentioned, it's only with 2 frame pauses, and it doesn't happen every single pause. But if you start noticing that, you definitely have enough speed. Like, absolutely, you definitely do. But you can have enough speed without that visual cue existing. What I've kind of just gotten good with the time, I can really just kind of eyeball it. Like, I don't even need this visual cue. I can tell by Link's oscillation how far he's moving in 1 frame, which there's no visual cue for that. But you get good at it with time, eventually you really don't need this visual cue. But as a beginner, I would definitely recommend looking for this. Now, let's say we now have enough speed. What's the next step? The next step is to get an air refill, because the speed we upcharge at is, it's dependent on our air. If we have low air, we're actually going to need more speed, and we don't want to do that because then we'd need to pause buffer more, and nobody wants to do that. So, to get an air refill, you want to hold slightly down on the analog stick like this, so that the stick is just outside of the neutral range. That way, when we move in the water, we're going to greatly slow down our speed loss that we would get if we had just held full down. So hold slightly down, and then we're going to very carefully maneuver to the right side of this corner that the rock makes with outset. So this corner right here, you want to be anywhere between here and here, but don't go around here, you'll hit the shore. And if you go around here, you won't get the air refill. So like right here. And then now I have the air refill, so it's going to completely refill my air. Good. Now we need to swim away, because when we're going to upcharge, we randomly oscillate in the water, so we need to be a good distance from the shore, because if you hit the shore, you will go up on the land, and then it will off the land and fall. When you fall, you lose all your speed, and we call that splooshing. So go pretty far away while holding up ESS, because that's going to make you go down. And there you go. So this is a pretty good location. We're pretty safe here. We're not going to hit the shore. Like, there's no way. The next step is going to be to initiate the upcharge. So I have been in the free cam, but we're gonna go back to the default camera that tries to follow Link. And to do that, all we have to do is hit ZL. But before we do that, first hold it all the way down on the control stick and try to pause buffer 1 frame. It doesn't matter if it's not 1 frame, just to make sure Link is moving upwards. And then now we're gonna hold all the way up on the stick, and then hold ZL, and we're going to try to pause buffer 1 frame. If you pause buffer 1 frame, like this, you're good to move to the next step. Now, how do I tell it was 1 frame? Besides seeing that the air gauge didn't flicker, I can just see that Link is off the screen. So if Link is traveling down, which in this case, because of that, he's off screen, or, you know, he's on screen, either way, he's traveling down, and you don't see his face, you got a 1 frame pause. But let's say you get a 2 frame pause. And by the way, so if you get a 1 frame pause, don't worry about all the things that I'm about to tell you, because you don't need to do it. Let's say you get a 2 frame pause, 2 frames advance. Yeah, good thing I got a frame perfect pause there. So now you can see that you actually, Link is on the screen, and he's at kind of at the top of the screen. He's facing towards the camera. This is what happens when you get a 2-frame pause. You need to make sure that you do a backup, or else you're going to lose all your speed. If you proceed to the next step without doing this thing that I'm about to tell you, you'll lose all your speed, and then you have to repause all the way back. Also, if you get a 3-frame pause, it's completely ripped. You will lose all your speed. And if you get an early pause, and the game doesn't repause, you'll also lose all your speed. But in this case, we can back this up. All you have to do is hold down or down ESS, either one, whichever you prefer, and try to do it for 1 frame. It's okay if it's more than 1 frame, but this trick works best if it's a frame perfect pause. There we go. I got a frame perfect pause. So if this happens and you've done this backup, you're good to go to the next step. I will warn you that in the case of a 2-frame pause and you've done this backup, the upcharge requires more speed. You're not going to have that good of luck upcharging under 600 speed if you get a 2-frame pause. But if it's a frame perfect pause, you can upcharge at very, very low speeds. So now we're good to go to the next step, which is actually without even pause buffering. All we have to do is try to hold perfect up and unpause. And there's a visual cue to tell if you hold perfect up. So I'm just going to advance a little bit and show you what Link starts doing. So every frame he's traveling behind the camera, and then the camera flips, and then he just keeps going behind the camera. If you see this, Link is, we're trying to get Link to oscillate perfectly back and forth. If you hold too far right or too far left, what's going to happen is he's going to start oscillating like around in a circle, and he's going to start frantically spinning around. We want him to go directly back and forth. So if you hold up left, he's going to start oscillating, in a circle. Hold up right, he's going to oscillate in a circle. Now, how do I tell if I'm holding too far right or too far left? So I'm going to deliberately hold too far right, and you're going to see what happens. Do you see how Link is now swaying towards the left side of the screen? That's because I'm holding too far right. And then if I hold too far left, he starts swaying towards the right side of the screen. You can also look at the background. So I'm going to start holding like a pretty decent up angle. Try to hold a good one. So see, see how the there we go. See how the background now is kind of rotating around to the left? Like that? So everything's starting to move to the right. Link is rotating around to the left. That means I'm holding too far left. And you can see on my control stick, I'm just barely holding too far left. And the same thing goes for right, but the opposite. So if I start holding too far right, now you see Link is starting to move to the right. So yeah, if you see the background perfectly still, you know it's perfect up. Alright, so let me show you this again, but let's say I went for upcharge at too little speed. So as you can see, this is 505 units of speed. This is probably not going to work. But let's go ahead and try for the upcharge. So up and target. Alright, back it up with the down, and then we're gonna go ahead and try for upcharge. As you can see, Link is not really going behind the camera. You keep seeing the back of his head. He is going behind it, but he's not really gaining speed. And I can tell because of what it looks like. So if you see this, don't just sit and hope he's going to gain speed. If he's not gaining speed at first, he's never going to gain speed. So the longer you sit in this animation, the more speed he's going to end up losing. At first, his speed drop is slow, and then it starts rapidly increasing. So the lower his speed is, the faster it's going to decrease, pretty much. So don't keep going. You can back this up. So hold down on the right stick and hold ESS on the left stick down, and just pause buffer 1 frame. And now the camera has gone back into free cam, so it's no longer following Link. And now we can pause buffer to get back up to the speed we need. And so because I can tell based on his animation that I barely have too little speed, I don't have to pause buffer for that long. So you really just have to eyeball it, just have a good guess, but just pause buffer a few more times and go for it again. And so I'm gonna go for it again at this point. So hold up and target and try again. Okay, still not enough. Okay, all right, we're gonna try again. There we go. All right, try again. All right, a few more times. All right, let's try it again. Okay, still not enough speed. Just keep going for it. Just keep trying again and again. We really need a lot more speed. And try again. And there we go. Now he's finally popping in. So as you can see, now he finally started gaining a bunch of speed. And also want to let you know that the up angle that you hold matters. So the better your up angle, the lower speed that he can upcharge at. So with all that in mind, just keep that in mind when you're going for upcharge, because as a beginner, you're probably going to need to get more speed. So just lean towards having more speed. Lean on that side, on the side of more speed versus less speed, and you'll be more successful with your upcharges. Going into the next part, there's a really annoying thing that happens at around 1200 units of speed, and it's more prominent at low air, which is another reason why you want to make sure you get an air refill, because he can get stuck at 1200 units of speed. We like to call this speed glitch, speed glock, whatever you want to call it. I'll show what it looks like. I'm gonna try to deliberately show it off, show what it looks like. By the way, you can see I'm not really gaining speed here, but okay. So here's what it looks like when he gets stuck, like this. So you kind of see that. See how you see the back of Link's head, and then you see the front, and then the back? What's happening is he's taking 2 frames to turn around. So I'm just stuck at, you see, negative 1192. I'm just stuck at this speed. And it's worse at low air. So you see my air is really, really low. That you know, it kind of makes sense that I'm stuck in it. But there is a way out. Well, one, if your up angle is perfect, you're most of the time going to get out. If your air is good enough. But let's say you get stuck in it like this. How do I get out of this? How do I start gaining speed again? One, you can just pop out randomly. And that's more likely to happen if you have a good up angle. Or, if that doesn't work and he's still stuck in this, what I recommend trying to do is pause buffer 1 frame of down. And then unpause and go back to holding up. And let's see if that helps. And then keep repeating until it works. No, it didn't work. Let's try again. Okay, that time I early paused. But you get the point. So if it doesn't work first time, you can just keep trying it. But if all else fails and you are in this kind of situation, the only way to save it is to get the air refill. So I have to go all the way to the air refill like this. There we go. So I saved it. And now what I can really do is, well, we really then can just swim away like this, and then try to charge again, and as you can see, now he's got out of it. So now his speed has finally broken through negative 1200. So that's what I said. If you get stuck in it forever and you still can't get out, you get the air refill, and then he's very likely to get out because now he has pretty good air. So when do we stop charging speed? When we stop charging speed is, I have a visual key for it. It's really, after he gets out, he'll start smoothing out like this. See how he's like kind of smoothing out? That's kind of when you need to start getting ready to get the air refill. Now we have enough speed, but you still have time. But keep in mind that his animation is going to start getting really rough again in another like 400 units of speed. So you really want to get the air refill before then, or else when you try to kind of turn around, he's going to turn around in a circle and it's going to be really hard to navigate. But for this part, now I have enough speed. How do I recommend getting the air refill? Hold it very slightly off of perfect up so that Link is kind of slowly rotating like this. And then all we have to do is time a pause when he's facing the air refill like this. So let's say I was facing away. All you have to do is get a frame perfect pause while holding up. Oh, there we go, like that. And now I'm all of a sudden facing the air refill again. So slowly turn around, like very, very, very slowly shift your up angle off of center, and then when he faces, now we're good to go. So all you have to do, I like holding all the way down for this, but all you have to do is just navigate to the air refill. So if you want to go right, you gotta hold left. You want to go left, you gotta hold right. It's inverted. So I want to go slightly left here, so I'm gonna hold a little bit down left. Okay, now I want to go straight, so now I want to hold down. Okay, maybe a little bit to the left. There we go. Now we've gotten the air refill. Cool. Great. All right, here's a scenario that you might find yourself in. When you're upcharging, Link can sometimes randomly oscillate in the water, and sometimes you can find yourself either A, hitting the shore during the upcharge, which if you go on the beach, you sploosh and lose all your speed. Or you can be pushed this way. And so you can see I'm behind the dock, and so if I try to get the air refill from here, the dock is blocking me, and this is a really difficult air refill to get from this spot. So how do we back this up? So what I want to do is I want to aim myself so I swim away from the shore towards Beetle a little more, right here. So I'm going to aim myself towards right here, and then we're going to swim away for a little bit. And then we're going to start upcharging again, and now you can see, now I'm in a good position, so I can get the air refill from here. We're going to navigate to the air refill, and there we go. Just got the refill. So that's what you do in that situation. now we're gonna go to the last final part of the trick, which is navigating to Dragon Roost Island. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to Dragon Roost. So to slide off this rock, what we're gonna do is we're going to hold it down. We're gonna hold slightly down on the left stick and just keep holding it for the rest of this trick. It helps me to use my pointer for this. So what I do is I take my pointer, I'll show it here, and I put it on the top of the stick and I curl it down and I just hold it there very, very firmly. That's because I have a really, really shaky thumb, but if you don't have a shaky thumb, don't worry about this. It just helps me. And we're gonna steer with this left stick right here. So to move the camera, to turn Link to the left, we hold left. So I'm gonna unpause, and I'm gonna start holding left, and we're gonna slide off the rock. When you slide off the rock, you really don't need to change your angle that much for the rest of the trick. Actually, this puts you in a really, really good direction. And so you may notice this island popping up. This island right here, you might have seen it. Oh, that's not it. Very, very big, very big. There's this island right here. It's called Shark Island, and you want to be heading a bit to the left of the island, and that's really once you hit this direction. Which honestly, I'm just gonna keep this direction and not move it for pretty much the rest of this trick. You want to just go straight. So just keep going straight. Don't turn. Don't do anything. But there is one thing I want to show you. This reef right here. Do you see this reef that I'm approaching? So you want to go just to the right of this reef. So there we go. I just went just to the right of it. And then, as you see, it's just a straight shot to Dragon Roost from there. So, there we go. And then we hit the cutscene. And, well, I've already watched the cutscene on this file. So here's all that in real time, but with the map up. So you can see what I was just talking about. And that's it. That's how to do the entire trick. So there's a lot of things that I didn't cover in these 2 short tutorials. So if you have any questions, definitely ask them in the description. I definitely am very, very open to answering all of your questions. And that's it for me. Hope all these tutorials help, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.